think we got it now. Alright, hopefully everybody can see it now. Let's see. Okay, nice. We got it. That was weird. Alright, here we go.
It's no problem. I mean, I have to say, when I heard that, like, people actually watch this show, I was actually.
Oh God! All right, what's up, everybody? Sorry. Okay, so if you're tuning in now, your camera needs adjusting, my friend. So if you're tuning in now, I was having some problems getting the thing to stream live. So looks like it's all been worked out and all that stuff. So we're back. You know, sports shenanigans. Really need to change that intro to have less football until, you know, the next football season. But, you know, as well as I do, that's probably not gonna happen. So we're just gonna live with it.
It won't take very long before it's NFL season again.
Yeah, hopefully. Man, my hair is too crazy from that hat. All right. So how's your week been, my friend? You've been keeping pretty busy out here.
I have been. I've since Monday I've put in 45 hours already at work, and I've which some of you listening right now are like, I do that every week. I work 100 hours a week. What are you complaining about? Well, for the record, I'm not complaining. It's actually kind of refreshing, but my job these days is more mentally stressful than it is physically stressful. So putting in that many hours really puts a strain on me, especially when there's so much going on. Big time seminars and a lot of PRing that my company's doing right now that we're
Probably pretty loud.
Needless to say, I'm pretty overwhelmed. And I'm grateful the guys that work for me are doing a really good job, and they're both stepping up. It's pretty awesome.
Very good. The guys that you ragged on last week.
Yeah, I didn't mean to. If it sounded like I was. I only meant to point out the one major flaw that they both seem to share, and they're both getting better at, was the problem solving part. And
well, now that they've heard your criticism, and they want to prove you wrong, you know, they want to make you look like a fool.
And I hope they do. But during that trash talk, I really hope I conveyed the message that I really do appreciate both those guys. I love them both. They're dear friends of mine, and I'm glad they work for me.
All right, so enough being gay. No.
Thanks.
Everyone loves gays.
But on top of the work stuff, I've also had 2 chiropractor appointments. I've had both of my kids are all fired up in baseball season right now, and they're both on 2 different teams. Both kids are on 2 different teams each, which means there's a practice or a game or both every single day. Every single day for the last 2 weeks.
That sounds like a nightmare, dude.
I've gone through a lot.
It
of
honestly sounds horrible.
Luckily, they're their mom's showing up and helping with carting people around. So is their my father-in-law, and my mother has taken some turns taking the kids to games, and it's all working out pretty well.
That's nice.
But
people didn't tune in to hear about your damn kids. They turned in to hear some hard-hitting sports motherfucking journalism. No, I'm just kidding.
For now, you wait until
I was going to ask you about your week.
Yeah, you wait until I start showing you signed baseball cards and softball cards of my kids, and that are worth $10,000 a piece, and because they're so awesome, you guys will all be jealous, and you'll remember this podcast.
You will. I mean, well, there might even be more people watching it this time, because since the last podcast, I made 2 videos that both got like over 30,000 views. So now we have like a lot more subscribers on this channel. So maybe there'll be more people watching. But If not, whatever.
And if you're new to this, you'll figure out pretty soon that our podcast is pretty much based on the conversations you would have around a campfire. So it could be a blast.
Yeah, let's tell the origin story of the podcast. So we would find ourselves outside, just standing around drinking beer or sitting by the fire talking. And, everybody has this thought at one point where it's like, man, I really wish I could, we could have had that conversation recorded, because that was pretty fucking awesome, actually. And so we just were like, one day, we started talking like that, like, oh man, it's too bad we can't re-listen to all of our old conversations, and they're like, oh, we should just do a podcast. And then most things, you say like, oh, that'd be cool if we, got together and did this and that, but then you don't do it. But I was like, no, because I really felt like pretty strongly about that, and I was like, I watch a lot of podcasts myself, so I really was like jazzed up about the idea of starting a podcast with Ginger over here. So there's our origin story, and fortunately we've been going strong for now 23 episodes. Sports Shenanigans. That's enough of an intro. We're gonna start off talking about I had a thing written down. I guess I'll pull out my phone because I put it in the notebook in my phone. But I was gonna start off by talking about the Mayweather-Pacquiao fight, which was the fight of the decade or what. I don't remember exactly what they.
I don't remember what they were labeling it as either, but I know it made the most money out of any fight that's ever happened.
Yeah, dude.
Big time.
It was huge.
Crushed the old record, which was already outrageous.
Yep. And I actually went to Buffalo Wild Wings and sat in Buffalo Wild Wings for close to 7 hours, watching fucking TV. Basically, the thing leading up to the event itself, and all that, and the undercard fights. I was just on Twitter the whole time, and everyone was complaining that it's this is boring. Nobody gives a shit about the undercard fights. Boo, and all the rest of it. But so there's been a lot of people who are severe, adamantly pissed off about the result of the fight. They're did you see the fight?
No, I didn't watch the fight, but I did hear that somebody is suing Pacquiao for not winning.
What grounds can you possibly have there?
No, I have to retract that. It was a little bit more complicated than that. He was suing him for because as it turns out he had an injury. He pulled tore it.
Oh, is it because he bet on the fight and lost or something?
See, that's kind of what I was thinking. No, but it was a matter of I guess Pacquiao was fighting with an injury.
Yeah, he had a torn rotator cuff.
Yeah, something like that, and he had, or maybe exactly that actually, and so this person is so pissed off. I don't know if he was as pissed off that his guy lost, or if he was expecting a better and longer and more intense fight, but probably just he was mad because he lost money betting on it.
So he's suing him for fighting with a torn rotator cuff?
Right. But along those lines, there are other people who
are... That's so dumb.
That are not quite as extremely upset, but they're bothered by the fact
there's a lot of people that got all pissed off. They got pissed off about the scoring. I forget exactly what it was. It was so it went 12 rounds, and the scores were all, 116, 112 Mayweather, 118, 110 Mayweather, overall, every judge concluded, every scorecard concluded that Mayweather won the fight. And even as an observer, I'm not a big boxing fan or anything like that myself, but just watching the fight using the eye test, it looked like, though Pacquiao had an interesting style, it was a good stylistic matchup. I don't think, Pacquiao threw more punches, but he didn't land more punches, because he got dodged and blocked a lot, and people were complaining oh, quit trying to hug him and all that stuff, and yeah, that is kind of a pussy way out, but that's how Floyd Mayweather's become this 47-0 fighter, or 44-0, I don't remember the number, but 40-something-0 fighter, is because the way that he fights opponents is he just methodically, like, he just understands the game of boxing so well. He has, like, really high defensive capabilities. And so, in limiting what kind of punches Pacquiao could land, he was actually just, like, winning the fight for himself in that way. And his punches were more accurate overall, you know, like, and he was like, well, the ones he would land wouldn't be just, like, glancing blows. Like, a lot of them would be, like, really solid hits to the chin or, you know, to the cheek or something like that. And so, I would just say that, like, the people who don't think Mayweather won the fight are just butthurt fanboys, really. Like, you can't, like, for me, a person who doesn't know anything about boxing and went into it hoping Pacquiao would win, I looked at the fight and I'm like, Pacquiao lost the fight. But, I mean, he put up a good fight. It was like a... it wasn't the fight of the decade. I would just go out there and say it because it was pretty... Overall, it was pretty boring because a lot of people were thinking it was going to be like this like really scrappy, really violent, you know, like slugfest or whatever. But when you take two really talented boxers, especially one like Floyd Mayweather, where his tactic isn't to like just run you the fuck over like Butterbean style, that like big fat boxer that would just like clock people and just knock them over and stuff. Like, that's not his style. And it was interesting to see him because he was on the defensive for a lot of that fight. Like, he was the one backing up all the time, getting like going against the ropes and all that stuff. And it was just really interesting to see how he like avoided Pacquiao and like, you know, didn't get beat up. And there was moments like where like the Buffalo Wild Wings, you know, I would say like 75% of the crowd was like was rooting for Pacquiao. And when Pacquiao would get Mayweather against the ropes and just like do like flurry punches and like hit him like multiple times up high, down low, up high, down low, they would just freak out. But I was looking at like, it was getting so loud, like everyone's like, yeah, fuck him up or whatever. And I was just looking at it like watching like Mayweather just like dodge this punch here and then like cover up, block this, drop down, block down here, and then like, you know, move hand to the side to block like a, you know, like a, what are those punches called? Yeah. A hook. And like, yeah. It was a really boring fight overall though, because, you know, they didn't hurt each other. There was a couple decent punches in each round, you know, but like overall they weren't like trying to fuck each other up. But these guys are 38 and 36 years old. Like, Mayweather is 38, Pacquiao's 36, which you can't expect two like almost 40-year-old guys to go out there and just like, you know, put it all on the line, beat the shit out of each other, you know, like risk their health for the, you know, remaining months. When if they stay in the fight, the longer they stay in the fight, the more money they make. Floyd Mayweather made something like $83,000 per second of that fight or something like that. I don't remember the exact amount, but he got $180 million for the whole fight. So, I mean,
so people were expecting a Rocky IV kind of a finish.
Yeah, like,
and they got a Rocky V.
They got a Rocky V. Right?
Well, I don't know. It just goes to show you that Floyd Mayweather is not the champ for because he never fights anybody good. It turns out he really is that smart. He's really that capable of a boxer. Yeah. And he proves the age-old... I mean, we all know how important offense is in boxing. And you got to beat up your opponent. But in every other sport, they talk about how offense wins games, defense wins championships. It turns out it's the same way in boxing. Who knew?
Yeah. Another thing is, like, I think that one thing that hurt Pacquiao is because he's aged, you know? Like, he made his name being like a volume puncher. Like, he'd punch you like a shit ton of times, you know? Like, he had like Fist of Fury. Yeah, Pacquiao. That was more of his style. When you're 36, you can't throw as many punches as you could when you were, you know, like 27, 28, you know? You don't got that same speed. Your muscles don't work as well as they used to and all the rest of it. But yeah, overall, I would say that, like, I did not spend that Saturday wisely. Because, I mean, you had to see it. That's the thing, is, like, you had to see it. You couldn't, like, if you knew going into it that it was going to suck ass, it's still, like, you can't regret seeing it, I guess. But it did feel like a really boring 7 hours. Even the fight itself, after about round 6, I was pretty bored watching it. I just wanted somebody to knock the other guy out, but it never happened, obviously. So...
I've been paying attention because of how important that fight was, but the fact is I haven't really gave a shit about boxing since Tyson bit Holyfield's ear off, and I haven't paid for a fight since
Yeah.
Since the Tyson McNeely fight, where it lasted like 19 seconds or something like that. $35 fucking 19 seconds.
Damn.
And McNeely was out.
That's what I was thinking the whole time. I was sitting in that restaurant. I was like, man, if somebody gets knocked out in the first round, I'm gonna like pee my pants. I'm so angry. Swear to God, dude. Like. Anyways, all right. So that's my take on the fight of the decade. It wasn't even a fight. It was like, I mean, okay. People are like, that was really boring, and it was really boring. I'm gonna be real with you. It was boring. But they weren't fighting; they were boxing. If that makes sense, they're just experienced boxers. They know like the movements and all that shit. So they weren't coming out there trying to hurt the other guy, which is what everybody wanted. Like, oh yeah, Pacquiao, like humanitarian. Goes to church, helps orphans, basically like a big community figure.
Spends all of his money on the Philippines.
Yeah. He's basically like a king down there. Yeah. Everybody loves him. He's such a nice guy. And Floyd Mayweather is like, yeah, check out this new chain I bought, baby. Yeah, the money team. He has like, I don't know. He's so self-absorbed and like just wasteful and fucking just whatever it means. Like so full of hubris, like just bragging all the time.
Yeah, and he's.
I would have liked to see Pacquiao knock his ass out, but
and he spent jail time for beating his wife too. People are pretty upset about that right now.
No, and that's pretty fucked up too.
Yeah.
Anyways, so enough on that. So what was the next thing on the agenda? Let me check really quickly here. Okay. Oh, was there any Major League Baseball or NFL stuff you wanted to touch on before we go on to the hockey and such?
Well, not a lot's happening in baseball. Being on our side of the world, we pay more attention to the Mariners than almost anybody else. And right now, the Mariners are just not that impressive. Their pitching is nothing compared to what they expected it to be.
I thought they had like a really strong start.
They were winning in the beginning, and they were broken. I think they were 4-4 at one point, and then they've just gone downhill since then.
Oh, really?
But part of it's due to everybody in their division. I mean. Well, they've got the Astros. Right now, the Houston Astros are tearing it up. The Houston Astros started off doing pretty lousy and are now wrecking it. But overall, there's really nothing exciting going on in baseball.
Wasn't it like the Mets were doing pretty good or something like that?
Yep, and the Mets still have the best record in the league, next to the Cardinals and the Astros. Never mind.
I don't even know any notable names on the Mets or the Astros or the Cardinals, but I guarantee you there's like a Gonzalez on there. There's like a Garcia on there somewhere. They got like they happen to have a lot of Latino sounding names in general on baseball teams. Mexicans are just good at baseball apparently.
And turns out they are.
I don't know what the trick is there, but
no, there's pretty much nothing really going on in baseball. But it's also really early. And the other day there was a kid that was called up from AAA, and his first game playing Major League Baseball, hit a home run to win the game.
Good job, man.
Yeah.
You're never gonna like reach that moment again in your career unless you like hit a game winner, like a game-winning grand slam in like the finals of the World Series. You're never gonna reach that like level of emotional high playing baseball ever again, unfortunately.
Problem is, everybody's gonna expect him to do it now, and
yeah,
now he's gonna be this big legend.
It's the worst.
You only had one home run. Come on, it was a playoff game.
When I was going through high school, I had like I have a really smart bunch of siblings. Any of my siblings lower than me or younger than me have gotten basically like straight A's through high school and like really good grades in college. And I'm sitting here like, and I don't like homework and I don't like studying. I'd much rather do other things like that I feel like doing than actual studying and like schoolwork and whatever. But like, and I got C's and D's and B's throughout high school. But like, what I realized was if you set the bar really low, then every time you do one thing good, everyone gets like, you get like a standing ovation from your like your dad's like, an A on a test, wow, this is like a momentous day for us. Whereas like if you get an A like every single test and then one time you get like a B or a C, like if I'm me from before and I get a B or a C, it's like, well, that's pretty good. That's better than D. That's like,
mm-hmm.
That's commendable or whatever. But if I get like straight A's and then I get a C, not only do I disappoint myself, which I don't want to do that. I disappoint my family, my fans, whatever else, But so yeah,
that's a good point.
The moral of the story is set the bar low and impress people like once in a while. Give them a little taste.
Under promise, over perform, baby.
Yeah, there you go. It's really, you really like playing the odds at that point.
Yep, that's what the Atlanta Hawks. That's their problem. Is they had the best record in the NBA this year, and so now all of a sudden
the Warriors did, but yeah, they had the second best.
Second best, yeah. In their conference, they had the best.
All right, so are we gonna touch anything on football, or just go straight into basketball?
You know what? The only thing going on in football right now is they're whining about Deflategate again.
Oh God! Shut up.
Yeah, so I don't even want to talk about that.
Shut the fuck up.
Obviously, we just had a draft, and so that's exciting. A lot of teams have got to shore up some holes.
Did I ever tell you that? Did I ever tell you my like thing on Deflategate where it's like, people like a couple weeks after the Super Bowl's over, they're like revisiting it. They're like, well, let's see. I mean, we didn't really take Deflategate seriously enough. Obviously, that's a joke. They took it way more seriously. They didn't need to be like, yeah, okay, they shouldn't be cheating or whatever. But it's like way too much got put into it. It was like Benghazi or something like that, where it's like, holy shit! Like 6 months later, like, is Hillary Clinton responsible for Benghazi? It's like everyone's moved on, dude. Yeah. Anyway, it's like 2 weeks after Deflategate's over, people are like looking back at like old footage where it's like, were the balls deflated? and then they just see like Tom Brady throwing like a completely flat ball. Looks like he just pulled it out of like the plastic bag at the store and just like throwing it like to his receivers. It's like, it's hard to tell from this angle. Let's check one of the other angles. Like the ball, it looks like he's tossing a pancake around. Anyway, all right, that's one of my terrible jokes. But anyway, moving on. Oh, I had a question for you.
Go ahead.
This is like a weird thought I had actually today. Okay, on the subject of cursing, cuss words, and all that stuff. So we're going to get into a conversation topic about cuss words, which I know you love because you love that Adam Sandler bit where he just, like, says fuck, like, 800 times and says, like, every possible use of the word fuck or whatever. But, so, are there certain swear words that you think, compared to when you were young, like, let's say 11 or 12-ish, like, kid to like preteen stage, are there swear words
from dang to damn?
Yeah, are there swear words that are like viewed as a lot worse now than they were back then? And then were there any that like weren't so bad back then but now are viewed like, were there any that were like really bad back then that now we kind of just say all the time and don't really think twice about? Because like I thought of a few and I was like, I mean, for example, the word cock. Like, the first time I heard, or like, read whatever the word cock, or like heard it, I thought it was like the dirtiest word. Because like, it was when I was first like searching porn in like 7th grade. And I was like, cock? What the, cock? And like, cock and cum used in the same sentence and all that shit. Like, I was like freaking out. I was like, man, that's so offensive. Like, you can't believe people would use that word to describe a penis or whatever. But now, like, I don't know if my perspective has changed or if, like, as time's gone on, like, cock is just, like, generally more accepted as a term. What do you think on that? You think I'm right or you think I'm wrong?
No, I still think that's a dirty fucking word. Never say that around me.
Okay, I think
you can say fuck all you want to, but cock... wrong 4-letter word.
What about faggot? Faggot's a lot.
Actually, faggot seemed to be worse before.
It was? You don't think that people get more offended when you call them a faggot now? I guess if Louis C.K. says it's just funny.
You're right. Because even back then it was fag was okay, but faggot. No, you don't want to be a faggot. But if you're calling somebody a fag, you're just fucking with them. But
I didn't know about this. Like, this would have been
faggot.
useful information to know before I, like, just started throwing it around in my, like, early teens.
Yeah, I think I don't know. It became. I got a kick out of the way they used it in the movie Waiting. I don't know if everybody's seen Waiting. It's
Yeah,
about the
I've
restaurant,
seen it
those
a long
guys,
time ago. I don't really remember it that well, though.
Right, and you know, you make your coworkers, you know, look at your dick somehow, and look at your cock somehow, and and then
I have like a few distinct memories of that movie. They like
fag afterwards.
They spit. That's a movie where they like spit in the people's food and all that stuff, right?
In one instance, yes. Though there was a couple times where the guy dropped the steak on the floor and picked it up. I've worked in restaurants and we've never done anything like that, but I've heard the stories. I know it happens.
Yeah.
So the number one rule is when you go out to eat,
don't be a faggot. No, I don't know what's the number.
You know what?
one
They
rule.
probably wouldn't care if you're a faggot. Don't be a cock. When you go in there, whoever's serving you your food, you be nice to them. You compliment their hairstyle.
Yeah.
Tell them you know how cool, you know how much money they spend on their shoes.
Yeah. Come on, and tip well, you know.
And tip
like,
well.
All the rest of it.
And your food just might be
no matter what
split-free.
you do, don't call them a cock faggot, because then you're gonna get, you know, like.
Ugh.
What was the one scene where like she pulls like she like scrapes crumbs or like dandruff out of her vagina hair into somebody's like pancakes or something? I don't remember.
Oh no, there was when they were setting it down the line, and the one guy was scratching his head and putting the dandruff on there, and he called it garlic salt, and it moves on to the next one. And they're hawking loogies on it, and but then Dane Cook like rips some pubes off of his groin area, and then drops it on there as a garnish. And
Nice.
It was pretty horrible what they did to this plate of food, and I could never personally do this. I could not do it, no matter how bitchy this woman was.
Really? I think
could
there's
not.
some people I could do that shit to. Like, you know, eat my jizz or something. Eat my jizz or something. Like if it was like Tucker Carlson or like what's his name, Bill O'Reilly, or you know, maybe like there's a guy, what's his name, not Sean Hannity. What's this fucking guy that we got a clip
Daniel
of later?
Taj.
Yeah, he's a pretty big douchebag, but
But
God, what's this guy's name? Michael Savage. That guy's a fucking idiot, dude. We're gonna play a video of him later on. He's so fucking dumb, dude. Anyways.
Anyway, I couldn't do it, even though the actress that played the woman that this happened to did a phenomenal job making this woman seem like a fucking bitch. Like, bitch, cunt, cock, smoke, I don't know.
Just a string of curse words that you can come up with on your own, because we're not being creative today.
Yeah, we're not being creative today. Sorry, guys. We're just warming up. We're just warming up.
Alright, so yeah. Anyway, like, do you have anything else to say on that? Like, are there any cuss words that stick out, or words in general that stick out in your mind that are, like, either more or less offensive now than when you were, like, 13 years old?
I just realized how off topic I really got, because I forgot what topic we even were talking about, and then when you just brought us back to it, I'm like, man, I had us way off.
We were talking about, like, tip your waiters and all that. Don't call them a cock fag.
Cuss words off the top of my head, I can't really think of one.
I was thinking that dick got a little more, like, G-rated over time. Like,
yeah.
Maybe not. But then you look at some of the, like, 90s movies, especially ones like Eddie Murphy and stuff, like, it feels like those movies, they don't care any, like, what he says, any swear words he says. I think part of it is, like, the fact that I'm not a Christian anymore, I don't go to church, anything like that. So I sort of see swear words a little differently ever since I've kind of, like, become an adult.
Yeah, well, and it's not even just that either. I lost my train of thought already.
What about Jesus Christ?
Son of a bitch.
Dude, come on. Pull your shit together. Alright, moving on to NBA.
Okay, you're right. I know what it was. I was gonna blame it on the Democrats, and then I realized, well, Republicans go to church too. Thanks, Obama.
They actually go to church, I would say, more like, commonly. Or they at least care a lot more which, like, you know, branch of Lutheran or Baptist Christianity you're a part of.
The political right wing tends to talk more about the religion than the political left. Got it. Except for Bill Maher. He seems to hate religion, but doesn't shut up about it. Okay, so anyway, basketball. NBA. So far, the coolest thing about the NBA right now is we're in round 2 of the playoffs. And every single series is tied up 1-1.
Yeah, I know. I noticed that. Hang on, let me bring up my graphic real quick here. So, that's actually like a kind of a bit of a refreshing change from some of the first round, which actually some of those series ended up way closer than I thought they would. Like for example, like the oh damn it, dude, I have to move this to the middle.
I can't believe the Clippers beat the Spurs. Like I am stumped.
I thought they were
games.
going to actually. I was surprised the Spurs were doing so goddamn well overall. I'm having fun here. Sorry. So, what was your favorite series from the first round, or what one was like?
Oh, my favorite was the Golden State Warriors smoking the Pelicans. That was awesome.
That's not even competitive. Like, come on. You gotta pick one that. Well, you don't have to. I mean, if you get off on the whole like we're the leader, we're the rulers of this country. You're gonna be our peasants. We're gonna make you serve us and like rub our feet and shit while you eat table scraps and all that.
Doyle rules. Yeah, I don't know.
I think that was obviously gonna happen.
Yeah.
But the Pelicans weren't horrible in the series. They made the games at least like, it wasn't like a complete. Well, it was a complete stomp. I'm lying. But it could have been worse. It could have been a little bit worse.
The Pelicans earned their spot in the playoffs. But they also earned their 8th seed.
I'm bummed out about, they're the ones who kept Oklahoma out of the playoffs.
I remember that too. That's too bad.
Yeah, I would have liked so much more to see Oklahoma and Golden State Warriors go at it.
Yeah, Oklahoma's been one of the best teams in the last half a decade
poor
or so.
Russell Westbrook, dude.
Yeah, but they had some key injuries. They had a couple of last-minute problems at the end of the season, and somehow the Pelicans
Kevin Durant
squeaked
wasn't
in.
healthy for the entire season almost.
Right.
All right, so Memphis closed out Portland. The LA Clippers. Oh man. So, did you see Game 4 or not Game 4, Game 7, or did you see the highlights or anything of Game 7 of this series?
Every time there's been a basketball game on, I've either been at ball fields or
okay. So I'll just describe
that
this
stupid computer game that I love so much. Yeah.
So I'll just describe it for you then. So it was actually on at the same time I was at Buffalo Wild Wings for the Pacquiao fight, and what happens is in the last 3 minutes, it just goes back and forth over and over. All the teams have both teams have all their timeouts and stuff like that. Really, so it starts to go back and forth and lots of timeouts, lots of fouls and all that stuff. To try and regain to get lead changes going on and all that stuff, and then man, what happened? Oh yeah, so one of the Spurs players gets fouled or something like that. They're down by one. One of the Spurs players gets fouled. There's 20 seconds left. He makes both of his free throws. Really clutch free throws. So they're up by one now. And then I forget which player it was. But the Clippers drive down, and then with a second and a half remaining, this player takes this mad fade this is an extreme fadeaway jump shot off the backboard. With this guy just totally in his face, arm, reaching over his head, but he, makes the fadeaway shot with, a second and a half from, I'd say, probably about 15 feet out.
Yeah, I saw the highlight of that, too. Actually, that was impressive. Even Michael Jordan would high-five this guy. Not that it was better than Michael Jordan's best, but...
But, I mean...
He'd still get a high-five.
It literally was, if that shot didn't go, they would have lost. They wouldn't have gone through to... go against Houston.
Right, and of all those times throughout history where somebody took that shot and it bounced off the rim or it hit the backboard and didn't go in, he pulled it in. He had the skill and the luck. It was perfect. And the the LA Clippers are now in round 2.
Yep.
Going against Houston,
I don't even think they're gonna get out of this.
You think Houston's gonna win?
I think that Houston wins this. I was surprised that they won the game that they did win, and actually quite commandingly, if I remember right. It was by around 10, 12 points. But so anyway,
see, I'd have thought the Spurs would beat Houston, and somehow the Clippers beat the Spurs. So I'm thinking maybe the Rockets have maybe they got their work cut out for them.
Well, so far we're already off to a bit of a better start than their last series against Dallas. They went up 3-0, lost a game, and then closed it out. So, I believe, I'm not 100% sure. It's not as good. This graphic that I have right now is not as good as the hockey one because it doesn't show which games were won. Like, the hockey one actually shows, like, which team won which game in the series. So, which is kind of nice. But anyway, so Portland versus Memphis. I don't know how Memphis dropped so far and then, like, just crushed Portland. Dude, Memphis is, like, the number one defense over the regular season in the NBA. And now they're up against the Golden State Warriors. This is
offense. Yeah.
This is an awesome matchup, dude. And did you see the game that they played most recently? They beat the Warriors by, like, 8 points or something like that. And they kept the Warriors to 90. Like, that's pretty damn good. And those are the kind of games that they win. Okay, so, like, overall, Memphis, the way that they win games is they just have to have, like, higher percentage of, like, you know, like, making 2-pointers, basically, making field goals. They're not big on 3-pointers. Yeah, they have, like, one or two players that can make them. But, like, all they do is, like, if they can get you off your rhythm, off your offensive rhythm, don't let you go in these, like, long, you know, 15, 16-point runs or something, you know, like 12-point runs, whatever. They keep you off tempo, then they win their games. And I've seen them keep teams as low as, like, 60 points before, you know, in the NBA. And so, like, this is an interesting matchup. I don't think they win it, but I'm really interested to see how it plays out between them and the Golden State Warriors. Because, like, do I think that they can completely shut down Steph Curry? No. And they didn't even do it in the game that they won. He still scored, like, I think, like, 23 points or something like that. But they did shut down Klay Thompson pretty hard, which is the other Splash brother. And they actually, like, he only scored, like, 9 or something like that. And he missed, like, almost all of his... I think the 9 points he made were 3 3-pointers. And he shot, like, 12. So...
So he had an off game, too.
Yeah. So that's another thing to consider. Maybe they were just lucky to win that game. But I think they could at least pull another win out here. I don't see them winning it. I would like to see it go to 7 games. I want another, like... You know, LA Clippers, San Antonio Spurs kind of like ending to this where Golden State wins because I don't want, like, as much as I love Memphis, I think Golden State Warriors have to go further because they like, I really want them to go and make the finals. But anyway, because I just love watching them play. It's like you feel like when you watch Golden State Warriors, it's like you feel like they can't keep this up forever. Like, this isn't a sustainable way to play basketball. You know, like.
Yep. But at the same time, they've been doing it for the
whole
85
season.
games.
Yeah.
So eventually, you just have to accept that these guys can make these fucking shots. But remember, their coach too. The coach of the Warriors is his name is Steve Kerr. If you don't pay attention to the NBA much, Steve Kerr used to play for the Chicago Bulls back when Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen and Dennis Rodman and Tony Kukoc and those guys were just destroying the NBA. While Michael Jordan was playing, nobody else stood a chance. Now, my favorite player on the team, besides Michael, of course, would be Steve Kerr. He was the short white guy that could nail the 3-pointers. He set records all over the NBA for 3-point percentages and made in a game and playoff this and finals that.
So it would make sense that he coaches a team that, like, teaches 3-point shooters how to get open.
Right.
That's awesome. That's the kind of, like, team he coaches after like being that kind of player himself.
It's kind of neat that his team is taking over the characteristic of the coach, and so anybody who says because everybody was talking about how LeBron James is taking over the Cavaliers and their coach doesn't really matter and he's not really coaching the team. LeBron is. Well, this is a clear-cut example of where the coach shapes the team. The team takes after their coach.
Well, and also, like, being an like 3-point master when he was a player, he actually, like, understands really well what a 3-point shooter needs. It's like in the league when, like, if you want to understand how to play better as support, you play like a few games of 80 carry, so you know, like, what you would need or whatever, you know,
to be able to help out. And you're right about that too. And Steve Kerr, I was listening to an interview that he did on. Can't remember if it was Colin Cowherd or if it was Stugotz, but ESPN radio. They were talking to Steve Kerr, and so Steve Kerr, the guy that still holds records in the NBA for 3-point shooting, he was complimenting like 3 of his guys. Steph Curry in particular. I guess Steph Curry during practice hit like 70-something 3-pointers in a row. And Steve Kerr was like, "Oh, I mean, I know I've hit 30 a couple of times, but once you get that many, you go home, And well, yeah, apparently they were talking. They even had a witness. Somebody else on the team was there and saw it, and I really need to look up that number because that's something that's important to know. But Steph Curry, in practice, 70-something 3-point shots in a row, I think, if I remember right.
Damn, that's pretty crazy.
Like just sitting there nailing them, like for like an hour.
He won the 3-point shooting. You remember the like All-Star event and stuff that they do in the NBA where they do the dunk contest. They do. I
remember watching that growing up, but I haven't watched it recently.
Well, they have a competition where they lay. They put balls all over the 3-point line.
Yeah,
and
they got racks set up where they got 5 balls sitting out, and you grab, you do one ball after another. You just grab the ball and shoot, and shoot, and you shoot 3, 4, 5. I'm pretty sure it's 5.
Steph Curry won that.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
This year, yeah, he kicked its ass.
Doesn't surprise me.
I don't think he missed a shot, if I remember right. He didn't even miss a shot. He might have missed one. I think he missed the very last shot he had to take. He missed it the first time. And
so you get 24 out of 25, yeah.
So anyway, yeah. That team's so much fun to watch.
So right now the Warriors are who I'm paying attention to because of that. I also am watching Chicago Bulls because the Bulls are my team.
They did take a game off Cleveland, but then they gave one back, so...
Yeah, but Cleveland's also
badass. Did Derrick Rose get injured? I forget.
It's his right-hand guy that's... Wait, are you talking about right now, or because Derrick Rose just got back from an injury?
I thought he got re-injured. Maybe no. Oh, that's right. He
got back like the game before the playoffs.
No, he is back. But apparently something was bothering him before the game that they won. Oh. But it turned out to not obviously be that big of a deal. But anyway, so let's see, Atlanta Hawks and Washington Wizards. So, apparently Atlanta's struggling because of injury, you were telling me? I didn't actually know about this.
And I don't remember, I couldn't give you names. I remember hearing them in the playoffs.
Yeah, that's one thing right now, which is one of their big players. Some shooting. I don't think they rely... If Washington goes... what's your ideal conference final in the...
You know what? I got a feeling we're taking the Spurs, who I thought win when it's that...
Tim Duncan, basically.
Well, I mean...
I can't believe... although I...
Well, and...
I mean, maybe the score going to be, though.
I see. The West, I'll bet you both games. Warriors take it, and...
You're saying 4-2 Warriors against the Grizzlies? Overtime or something like that, but...
Freaking expansion. They were the 2 expansion teams combobulated. I don't know what the hell's going on in the series. I hope... Hakeem Olajuwon, though.
In the...
Oh, okay.
All of them as possible.
Yep. And Chicago, Cleveland...
I'll give it to Cleveland.
I'll bet it's 4-3.
Warriors would be a fun final. And, I get kind of, they're, super cocky and all. Our player, I really like Steve Kerr. Warriors in the West, that one 4-2. And also, and Cleveland comes out ahead 4-2 as well. Really indecisive. I can't decide if they're going to be really close or blowouts.
Good.
I mean, what do you think the number of games to each is dropping frames? 4-1? Yeah.
I think the Clippers would make it. You know what? I bet you 4-2. Then I bet you they win 2 of the Warriors are just freaking good.
I'm gonna try something really quick.